where are you guys at on Bisping versus McGregor? Are you following every single word of this? And I will tell you, this is the kind of thing that I would enjoy. Like, I enjoy those back and forths. It's very hard to get over on Bisping in a battle of words. It's very hard to get over on Conor in a battle of words. Like, this would be a showdown that we would all learn something from and we would enjoy. Not to mention, this has been brewing for a period of time. Like, I'm a little bit surprised that it's taken this long to boil over. But here we are. Now, with that said, before you do go back and search for this, Bisping doesn't want to play very bad. And that's probably very hard for Mike. And I feel as though I understand where it's coming from. I feel as though I can explain it to you because Michael Bisping's role has changed. Michael Bisping's job now is to put guys that are going to walk that walk, step into that octagon, to put those guys over, to give those guys shine. It is not Bisping's job to threaten them, to tease them, or to diminish them. Now, nobody's told him that. I guarantee Dana didn't tell him, and I guarantee Craig didn't tell him, hey, don't go after Conor. But I also can assure you there's a piece to Bisping's responses. Psychologically, they're exactly what I just described. Because it put me in a tough spot, too. And I got to walk the tightrope for a while where I was commentating and competing. But I didn't want to use the commentating booth as a way to build up the competition. So nobody told me that I couldn't. But it wouldn't be appropriate. I think that we can all understand why. Like, I'll give you an example. This is a law. Now, this is a law that gets violated on a regular basis and absolutely nobody enforces it, but there is still a law on the books that a politician must be given equal time. So say NBC, for example. If NBC was to have a politician, a sitting candidate on, who's somebody that does an NBC show? Jay Leno. He got replaced, but the Jay Leno show, whatever that used to be. And they gave him 20 minutes. NBC somewhere down the line owes the opponent a free 20 minutes. It's a rule. It's a law. So you would never be able, if you were in Conor's spot, to have a microphone and have the ears of the audience more than Michael Bisping. But if it's ESPN or it's the UFC that brought those ears in and it's their microphone, Bisping doesn't use that as his platform. I think Bisping's appropriate. And I guarantee you that there's a piece of what I just, that is why Bisping is not coming as hard as you might expect. Where that balance is, but it exists. The rules change. You would view it as the rules change. I'll give you a great example, but it was Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington. Colby had just got done fighting. Kamaru was a sitting champion, but Kamaru was working the booth. And when he interviews Colby, Colby breaks bad on him. Starts yelling, starts screaming at him, starts building something up, and Kamaru could not fire back. I saw another thing. It was Tony Ferguson and Kevin Lee. Kevin gets done fighting. Tony's sitting at the desk. Tony interviews Kevin. Kevin breaks bad on Tony. And Tony had to stay calm. There's just a part of it. There's a little part where that never goes too far. Now, what made Conor so mad? That's a tough one. I don't really know. I really don't know. Michael Bisping guessed, hey, Conor's bored. Conor's lonely. I think that Conor's out on the set of this Roadhouse gimmick, which I still don't know if that's a movie or a TV show, and I've asked people and I've heard both. The point is, apparently he's still there, and maybe he is a little bit bored, maybe he is a little bit lonely, maybe he's just looking to have some fun. We could only guess. But the same way that Bisping is following a code of I am now a commentator, I'm not coming after you, the same way that Bisping follows the code, Bisping follows that code because he can't come in and fight Conor McGregor. He can't do anything about it. He doesn't fight anymore. But that end of the code would also spill to Conor. Conor's not going to be fighting Michael Bisping because Michael Bisping doesn't fight anymore. So I want to tell you guys like some great drama. I want to tell you what's going on here, what the real story behind the scenes is. And this whole thing started, this isn't my opinion. Conor hasn't told me this, and neither has Michael Bisping. I'm just an observer and I watched it. This whole thing has to do when Conor broke into the business, Bisping believed in him early. Like Conor had one fight and Bisping was telling people about him. And Bisping met him and Bisping grabbed him and pulled him into the fold and set him up with his manager. Bisping introduced him to Audie and talked Audie into managing this guy that nobody had heard of out of Ireland called McGregor. Well, McGregor becomes a big thing. Audie then becomes McGregor's partner, not just his manager. Like, they go and do the whiskey thing together, and I wouldn't know what other things they have together. The point is, they're going off, and all of a sudden, Bisping can't get his phone call. All of a sudden, Bisping, who introduced them, isn't getting his calls returned promptly. It's one of those things that's not going to sit well with anybody. Not to mention, if I introduced you, if this whole relationship, if the genesis of that was me, I'm now a broker. I have brokered this relationship. Where's my cut? And Bisping has never said those words to me. I'm telling you, as an outsider that just watched this, I've seen it. And where are these two going with this? Because at some point you have to, what is the point? Is the point to get some headlines? I'm all in, but Bisping doesn't need them right now. He doesn't have a match coming up. He doesn't have a pay-per-view. Does Conor need the headlines? Sure, Conor loves them, but he doesn't have a match coming up right now. He doesn't have a pay-per-view. I don't know what the swerve would be. Is Conor trying to get Bisping brought in and they can settle this in a choreographed setting on this new movie and or TV show? I don't know. I mean, The Rock and Vin Diesel got into something like that after Fast and the Furious, but it was all to lead to a WrestleMania. The whole world caught on, so Vince couldn't book it. Had those two have played it right, and Vin was trying, Vin just wasn't very good at it. Vin was trying. Vin Diesel was doing what needed to be done to get a big spot against The Rock in WrestleMania. He was, but when you guys figured out and everybody starts talking about, oh, they're just hustling, it's up, right? It doesn't work anymore. I'm speculating. I'm guessing. I don't know. I wanted to enjoy this more. I did. I wanted to enjoy this, but Bisping decided to play nice. Now, that puts anybody in a hard spot. If I believe I have a rival and I believe that he's worthy and meaningful, I got a big voice, but he's got a big voice too. I was a world champion, but he was a world champion too. All of a sudden, things start to get level, and you start to say, okay, I've got an opponent. I'm not going to be bullying. I'm not going to be picking on him. But I don't know that Bisping wanted to play. And if he did, at least by Bisping standards, he decided to play nice.